Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. Kumar Saurav, Department of Community Medicine, Government Medical College, Petia. In the last class, we had discussed about hospital waste management. Today, we shall start another important topic, that is disaster management. So let's start with the definition of disaster. So disaster is defined as any occurrence that causes damage, ecological disruption, loss of human life, or deterioration of health and health services on a scale sufficient to warrant an extraordinary response from outside the affected community or area. So, as per the definition, we must try to understand that any phenomenon is termed as disaster only when the affected area has not got enough potential to combat the effect of disaster. Means that it requires help from outside the affected area or community. So what is hazard? Any phenomenon that has the potential to cause disruption or damage to people and their environment. Emergencies and disaster not only affect health and well-being of people, but large number of people are displaced, killed or injured, or subjected to greater risk of epidemics like acute gastroenteritis, measles, hepatitis A, malaria, etc. They do cause considerable economic harm. It also causes great harm to existing infrastructure and threaten the future of sustainable development. Now, disaster has been classified into two parts. First one is natural disaster, another one is man-made disaster. So coming to natural disaster. Now again, natural disaster has been classified into natural phenomenon beneath the earth's surface, that is tectonic, natural phenomenon at the earth's surface, topological, natural phenomenon above the earth's surface. So natural phenomenon beneath the earth's surface include earthquake. So earthquake, these are due to interaction at the edge of greater plates of the earth. Usually they occur in well-defined poles. The high level of mortality in earthquake is due to collapse of buildings. Tsunamis, these are due to earthquake under the sea. This results in displacement of large volume of water, causing waves of low amplitude but of long wavelengths, resulting in floods on the coastal lands. Volcanic eruptions. Natural phenomenon at the earth's surface include landslides, avalanches. Avalanches is a mass of snow which is set in motion by its own weight. Natural phenomenon above the earth's surface includes windstorms, tornadoes, hailstorms, sea surges, floods, droughts, etc. Now, biological phenomenon includes epidemics of disease, locust swarms, groups of insects, bees, etc. Now, coming to man-made disaster. Now again, it has been classified into man-made disaster caused by warfare and man-made disaster caused by accidents. So man-made disaster caused by warfare includes conventional nuclear weapons, biological warfare agents. Some of the examples include Bacillus anthracis, Ebola virus, Vibrio cholera, Clostridium botulinum, etc. and chemical agents. Now, man-made disasters that is caused by accidents include vehicular accident like train accident, aircraft accident, drowning, collapse of the building, explosions, fires, biological, chemical, including poisoning. Now, coming to what is disaster management, we can better understand disaster management by this cycle. Now, you can see in this picture, there are four phases of disaster management, which includes preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation. We will discuss each one of them in details. So, what is preparedness? That is the activities prior to the occurrence of a disaster. Example includes preparedness plans, emergency exercise, mock drills, warning systems. Response means that activities that is done during the disaster. That is, example includes public warning systems, emergency operations, search and rescue. Now coming to recovery phase, that is post disaster. Activities following post disaster. Example includes temporary housing, tents, claims processings and grants, long-term medical care and counseling. Now mitigation. Mitigation is an ongoing process. It includes the activities that reduces the effects of disaster. Example, building codes and zoning, vulnerability analysis, public education, etc. So this is the disaster management cycle. You can see we will discuss each one of them in details. Disaster impact, response, rehabilitation, reconstruction, mitigation, and preparedness. So coming to disaster impact, the period of impact may be few minutes in case of earthquake, hours in case of cyclones, and days in case of floods. The greatest need is the emergency care to be given in first few hours. The steps of disaster impact management includes search, rescue, and first aid. Search of all the person who are affected due to the disaster. We have to rescue them as soon as possible and provide them the adequate medical facility and first aid. Field care, triage, tagging, and care of the dead individuals. So search, rescue, and first aid. First of all, whenever disaster occurs, there are few people who are uninjured. So the uninjured survivors, they come first of all and they give the immediate help to the survivors. These survivors, first of all, they are organized, they come to rescue and provide first aid. It means that whenever a disaster occurs, it is the uninjured survivors. They first of all come to the affected area and provide the immediate help. So first, when immediate help is provided, then we need to give field care. That is food to be provided at the place of disaster. People who are affected, they are sheltered in tents, schools, and community halls. Health personals like doctors and paramedics, other volunteers, police, home guards are deployed to the affected place. An inquiry center has to be established to respond the patients, friends, relatives, and family members. Dead victims, they are to be identified and adequate mortuary space should be provided. Now triage, this is a very important part in disaster management, since we all know that the Health manpower resources, they are always in shortage as compared to the casualties. The injured survivors are classified accordingly according to their severity of injuries and chances of survival with medical supervision. This approach is called triage approach. The triage approach system consists of different color coding. So what is triage approach? So we can better understand it by color coding. So in priority 1 comes the red color, which includes the critically ill patients who needs immediate medical and surgical interventions within 6 hours. The second priority has to be given to yellow color code. It includes moderately ill cases requiring resuscitation within 24 hours of injury. The third priority goes to green color. It means that those patients who are ambulatory patients and are having minimum risk. And priority 4, that is black color. This group consists of dead and moribund patients. It means that those patients who are about to die, nothing can be done for them. So they are kept in black color. Arrangements should be made for the transportation of priority groups to the nearest health facility. Now comes tagging. The patients are identified with tags which provide information like name, age, contact address, and the treatment given to them. Now we have to take care of the dead individuals. Dead body is removed from the site of disaster. They are shifted to mortuary, identified, and bereaved family members are received. Now coming to the next phase of disaster management, that is response. It has been classified into relief phase and mass immunization. Relief phase starts with help or assistance from outside the affected community. Measures are taken to prevent occurrence of epidemics. Arrangements are made to provide food, clothes, shelters, and drugs. Mass immunization camps are done against disease like cholera, typhoid, etc. Vaccination for healthcare providers are also recommended. Some patients also require tetanus toxoid vaccine. Coming to the next phase, that is rehabilitation. So rehabilitation should be started from the time of onset of disaster to restore the pre-disaster condition. Some services are reconstructed and reorganized, like water supply. So providing water supply by chlorination with residual chlorine concentration of 0.7 ppm. Educate food supply. Hygienic food should be provided to prevent foodborne outbreaks. Food handlers should maintain a high standard level of personal hygiene. Improvement of sanitation, disposal of human excreta by construction of temporary trench latrines separate for men and women. Washing, cleaning, and bathing facility is to be provided. As we know that in case of flood, some opportunistic vectors, they get a good breeding places and result in vector-borne disease like malaria, dengue, etc. We need to look for them. Measures are taken to control the vectors. Care of the survivors. So those who have been survived post-disaster, efforts are made to reintegrate the survivors of disaster with the help of NGOs, Department of Social Welfare, Orphan children are also taken care of. Now, coming to the last step of disaster management, that is mitigation. So, mitigation includes measures which lessen the effect of emergencies. Depending upon the disaster, protection of vulnerable population, and providing them educate infrastructures, improving the structural qualities of schools, houses, and other buildings so that medical casualties can be minimized, ensuring safety of health facilities and public health services, including water supply, sewage system. These all reduces the cost of rehabilitation and reconstruction. Basically, mitigation complements the disaster preparedness and disaster response activity. So, what is preparedness? Disaster preparedness is a continuous, ongoing, multi-sectoral activity. It includes a strengthening and capacity building of the whole nation to manage all types of emergencies. Preparedness starts from the community people because, as we know, that external agencies may not arrive for days to the affected area, especially if transportation and communication facilities are hampered. Health workers, social workers, and members of NGOs are continuously given trainings. Disaster preparedness consists of following measures. So, evaluation from the past experiences about the risk and location of disaster prone areas. Adoption of a standard operating procedure, that is SOP. Organization of communication, information, and warning systems, ensuring coordination and response mechanism. Development of public education programs, awareness should be created. Organization of disaster mock drill exercises to test the response mechanism, keeping buffer stocks of food, drugs, and essential commodities. So, moving on to the disasters in India. So, India is a highly disaster prone country in Asia Pacific region. Around 8 major calamities occurs every year, which includes floods, cyclones, droughts, earthquakes, and epidemics. Major accidents like railway, aircraft, mining, factories, etc. occurs every year. Northern mountain region, including foothills, are prone to snowstorms, landslides, and earthquakes. Eastern coastal regions are prone to severe floods and cyclones. Recent example is Amphan, which we have seen in West Bengal, Odisha, Bihar, Assam, Uttar Pradesh are always prone to major floods almost every year. Indian Meteorological Department plays a key role in forewarning the disaster of cyclone storms by detection and tracking. 5 centers has been established in Kolkata, Bhubaneswar, Vishakhapatnam, Chennai, and Mumbai. Disaster warning systems have been installed in the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. In Manali, snow and avalanche study establishment has been established, which gives warning to the people about avalanches 24 to 48 hours prior to the snowstorm. So in this picture, you can see the first meeting of India Disaster Management Congress in New Delhi, which was held in November 2006. It was the largest conference headed by the Prime Minister of India, National Disaster Management Authority. So, the aim of National Disaster Management Authority is to build a safer and disaster resilient India by developing a holistic, proactive, multi disaster and technology driven strategy for disaster management. The chairman of NDM is the Prime Minister of India. The, the National Disaster Response Force in India has been established for the purpose of a specialist response to a threatening disaster situation or disaster under the Disaster Management Act 2000. Some of the international agencies which provide humanitarian assistance to the disaster strike areas are United Nations agencies, which include World Health Organization, UNICEF, World Food Programme, Food and Agriculture Organization, Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Thank you.